A month ago, it seemed like so many people in the entertainment industry who had gotten access to see The Flash early had talked about how incredible it was. What a masterpiece of a film. Maybe the greatest comic book movie in history. And as skeptical as some people were, they thought, well, it sounds like they liked it. I wonder what it'll do at the box office. Then the numbers, the projections started coming out, and they were shockingly low for The Flash. In fact, just a few days ago, these were the headlines. Hoping not to be gone in a flash, DC Pick eyes $155 million worldwide opening, including a projected $70 to $75 million here at the domestic box office. For something that has been hyped up this big, all the cameos, all the nostalgia, Michael Keaton returning as Batman, those were shockingly low numbers and way less than people expected. Well, here we are. The Flash officially came out yesterday, and the Thursday preview numbers are in, and they are not good for The Flash. The Flash striking around $9 million Thursday night box office early look. And although Deadline has tried to compare it to things that came out like Doctor Strange from, I don't know what, like 7, 8 years ago at this point, like these different, comparisons to be like, well, maybe it could do really well in the long run. The reality is when you compare it to what's been coming out recently, that $9 million Thursday preview pretty much lines up with these $70, $75 million projections that we've been getting right now. Just look at all the superhero movies that have opened up this year, what their Thursday preview nights were. Guardians of the Galaxy, $17.5 million on Thursday. Ant-Man Quantumania, $17.5 million. Across the Spider-Verse, $17.3 million. And then The Flash with a $9 million Thursday. Now, of course, it's just one day. It's just the previews. But this is typically a good indication of where the hype level's at and what this will do the rest of the weekend. And when you compare that number, it seems way closer to something like Black Adam. And this is really what Warner Brothers has been fearing. Because if this performs similarly to Black Adam, which both worldwide and domestic, the numbers weren't that far off, this will be an unmitigated disaster for Warner Brothers. They've told us that the budget's only around $200 to $220 million. Reportedly, with all the reshoots involved, it is way more expensive than that, even though the CGI doesn't look like it. But take a look at what it did on its Thursday. $7.6 million, not far off from that $9 million, and it ended up having a $67 million opening weekend. So certainly right now, it looks like Flash might end up in that $70 to $75 million opening weekend. If that happens, that is a nightmare for this movie. There's really no other way to spin it. It's going to need really, really positive word of mouth. And honestly, I think a lot of people went into this with very different expectations. Some people went into it thinking it was going to be fucking awful. Some people heard everyone talking about it's a masterpiece and had really high expectations. Personally, I think that there's a lot to hate about it, but I think there's a decent couple things to like about it. The CGI is awful. Ezra Miller's two characters at times can be incredibly annoying, but some of the jokes do hit. Some of the jokes do land. Michael Keaton's Batman is back. Maybe not as long as some people wanted him to be back for. Overall, I think it's a very average movie when you weigh all the big positives and the big negatives, but I think this movie is going to be very divisive to a lot of people because depending on what you like and depending on what you hate in the movie, it could ruin the experience for you. It could make the experience for you. But either way, with this type of box office start, like we're talking about, $9 million Thursday on its way to potentially $70, $75 million opening weekend, it's going to need way more than just positive word of mouth. It's going to need incredible legs to make this thing a profitable movie. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.